This is the bracket that I ended up making. What we got over here in this corner, got the boy tearing apart the 32 Go-kart. So here is the carburetor side. Hey, what's going on, all my muscle car maniacs out there? Today, what we got on the agenda for this bad boy is we are going to get this F2 put into position where it needs to be, it needs to sit, because if I'm going to start putting on all my charge tubes and all that, I got to have this thing exactly where it's going to be. So, what we're working with today is when I bought this kit used from Steve Morris, it ended up coming with these bricks, these guys. These are two 1-inch thick aluminum chunks. And for whatever reason, application that it needed it, it looked like it was to miss the valve cover. So I thought, hey, maybe I can use these. Stuck them on, tried it. I'm hitting the valve cover. And I'm also really close to the control arm. I'm also close to the tire. And there's just a lot of things that I'm kind of fighting. So what I've kind of figured out is I need to relocate the blower. We need to move it over and up. So I'm going to show you guys what we're going to be doing today. Okay, blower's on. So this is what I ended up doing. I have it 1 inch over. I drilled and tapped it, so it is now 1 inch over. That is the old block that's put on there. The only thing that's on there is for clocking. I can take the whole bracket now and I can kind of clock it where I need. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to raise it that inch, and I want to see what kind of extra room I get. But moving it out the 1 inch gave me room to the valve cover. And you can see that I'm right over my holes, so I can take the valve cover on and off comfortably. There's a little bit of a concern down here that if I do a hard wheelie and I come down hard, I don't need this thing kissing the blower. I don't need to take that chance. Also, the other thing I was thinking of is the clocking of the blower. I can't go straight down with it. If I do, I run into the control arm. I can't go perfectly out to the side. If I do, I run into the tire. So I have to kind of clock it at this, say 2 o'clock-ish area. Well, then it's pointing right at the fender. I have to worry about then having the pipe stick out of the hood or out of the fender. I'm not going to do that. But if I take it and I do that clocking up portion of it, the blower itself will stick out. I don't care if the blower sticks out of the hood. Game on. I'm fine with that. But just not the charge tubes. That looks blech. This is the bracket that I ended up making. This is made out of 1/4 inch steel instead of these big guys that are the 1 inch. The reason why I ended up doing that was because of the simple fact, the 1 inch, once I put this on, I don't have enough material. See what I mean? There's not enough material. So I like the distance that this 1 inch is giving me. Well, that being 1 inch, the original spacers that you get are these little guys, and these are 3/4 of an inch. So at that point is the reason why we are doing it out of a 1/4 inch plate. So now I made it out of a 1/4 inch plate. Sorry about that. There we go. Made it out of my 1/4 inch plate. Holes are 1 inch over, 1 inch up. I clocked it off of this and then just 1 inch up. So that's where we ended up. So that's the difference in the holes. It's like, holy cow, man, that looks like, so much more than 1 inch. Well, sorry. You're about 1 inch. Now you got to remember, when you're clocking this, it's going to change things. It's going to change things. So now I'm going to bolt this on, and then I'm going to take those 3/4 inch spacers that I have, and then those are going to get placed as spacers here, so then I'll be exactly at 1 inch. So when I have one of these made up, one of these 1 inch slabs made up, I can then drill and tap this, and then I got an inch worth of threads. It's plenty. That's more than enough. That's probably as much as what I have actually in the cylinder head itself. So then what we'll do is we'll just countersink these holes in, and game on. We're good. finally, all my stuff showed up. It's obviously the next day. I had to make a little wardrobe change. You know, I gotta look fabulous. Oh my God. sorry, a little early in the morning here. Anyways, as you can tell, I ended up getting all my stuff in, and I wasn't expecting it. I got my custom built Steph pan. I'm gonna show you guys that real quick. I know it doesn't do anything with the charge tubes and all that stuff, but I want to pull that thing out and I want to see how good of a job they did. So let's do some unboxing, man. I'm excited for this. Whoop, 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 ha ha! So you guys, this is everything that I ordered up, and I probably ordered up more than what I needed, but nothing worse than getting halfway through going, I wish I ordered one more of those. So this is what I got. I ordered up 3 of these 12-foot long silicone couplers, straight end, and everything is a 5-ply. It's all from Summit, but I got 3 of those. That way I can cut these down to the size that I need for whatever reason I'm going to do. So I got 3 of those. I got one 90 degree. I should have 145 that's supposed to still show up. That's the only thing I got left. Then I picked up 2 straights. I have 2 other ones on the car. Okay. I have 2 90 degrees that I already have here. So I bought 2 more. And these are a heck of a lot longer. I mean, like, way bigger, longer, and all that, which is cool. I can kind of use that for some variations here. And then I have 2 45s, which are they the same? Yeah, even these ones, these are a little shorter than the 45 I got, which is fine. So I have a total of 3 45s, 4 90s, and 2 straights. I believe I ordered up like 16 of these 4-inch T-clamps. I have 1 5-inch for this guy, which is going to be for the going into my charge tube. So I picked this up, and I should have 1 5-inch one in here somewhere. It's somewhere in here. And then also, I ended up getting that Steph pan. I've already taken a look at it. Let me show you guys what this thing is. This is cool. I think this is going to help with a lot of the oiling problems I have. I was going to order up a Moroso Pro Eliminator pan. I've ran them. It's a good pan. I had the steel version on the 555 that was in black pearl. And I think I had some oiling issues. So I thought, I am not even taking the chance of doing this. So I got in contact with Steph, and they ended up building me this pan. Now this one, if you guys notice, from here to here, this is way deeper. Now, you would not be able to fit this in a stock cross member in your 2nd gen Camaro. I've modified my cross member. It's an actual piece of like chromoly tubing, and then I went off of there. A lot of you guys have probably done the exact same thing. Makes a lot more room. Also, you wouldn't be able to run how wide this is. You wouldn't be able to run a kickout, because that kickout, as you can see, is all the way right to here. Cool part is, this kickout goes all the way to the back side of the pan. I mean, most kickouts, they're done right here, and you don't have this continuation of it. I like that. That means, as the crankshaft is whipping that oil, well, you got to have a place for the oil to, let's just say there's a wall. It's got to be able to hit the wall and drain back. Well, if you don't have a drain back style system, something to get it back down into the sump, returning it to the oil pump, well then it just kind of stays and whips, you know, wherever it's at. That's why kickouts are so important to have on your car, especially if you're spinning high RPM. I think it's just point blank. I think it's a smart choice to have. So with this also, you know, it's got the, what I would call your cheese grater windage tray. I'm sure there's, you know, mesh windage tray. Crank scraper here. And then what they also said was it has, besides braking baffling, it has speed. So, you know, when you hit your brakes, you have your baffle down here at the bottom, and it keeps the oil submerging the oil pump, or the oil pump stays submerged in oil, and it doesn't allow the oil to go this way. Well, there's also a point of controlling it for the G-force going back. So that's inside here. I can't take everything apart. I can kind of see what's going on in here, but I'm not going to sit and pull all these screws off to, you know, show you the intricate work that they did. These are not cheap, and there's a reason why they're not cheap, is because they take very good control over your oil. And it was a big choice to spend the money on doing this pan compared to just spending, you know, let's just say 600 bucks, 650 I think, is for like a Steel Pro Eliminator pan. This isn't double, but it's up there. I mean, it's over $1,000 for this pan. So I really had to figure out, do I want to do it? And it was like, you know what? For what this motor is going to be, I want to drag and drive it. I want to do all this stuff. Why? After blowing up my motor, only making a couple of passes. Same thing happened with the old man's, you know, the Redbird, where it was like, we're not going to have this problem. I'm not going to have this problem. So I am super excited about this thing. This thing turned out great. Next step is use a grinder, nice fine file, just to kind of make sure all the burrs and stuff are gone. And again, not sure if I'm going to weld everything up. Oh, he's got me. But I'm not sure if I'm going to weld everything up or not. First things first is I'm just going to get it together. Like I said, use those silicone couplers to kind of put it all together. So what we got over here in this corner, got the boy tearing apart the 32 Go-kart. This thing is going to get an overhaul. We're going to do a paint job and wheels and bigger motor and all that type of stuff. Right now he's fighting with 40-year-old rust and everything else on this thing. How you doing, bud?
Annoyed.
Yeah, he's had some rusty, nasty bolts in this thing. Because this thing was actually built in, like, I think 1973. But what's cool about this thing is, besides the whole tuck and rolled interior and all that, you can see it's got a transmission. So this thing's got reverse, couple of forward gears on it. Everything is underneath, just like what a T-bucket would be. So you have your choke, your key, all that stuff. This thing drives like a regular car. It's got tail lights, it's got a horn, headlights. You already disconnected the battery and all that?
No, I gotta do that.
Okay. But, whoop, horn works. But this is what we're gonna drive around down in the pits and all that stuff. So, we got a golf cart too, but I'm sorry, man. You cruise around to something like this, we're gonna do it in the, like the candy apple red that the old man's Camaro is. We're gonna do it in that and just make it look the part. And hopefully we'll get this thing to do like 35, 40 miles an hour. But Williams right now, he's going to tear this thing apart, and you guys might have heard him over here making noise. This is what he's making noise on, and for you guys that have followed the channel, I'm sure you've seen this thing in the background going, you know, man, what the heck is that thing? This is what it is. So we're going to start working on this, try to get this thing ready for springtime, summertime, tear it up around here. We're going to put a disc brake kit up front, and I think we're just going to buy like a Harbor Freight, maybe like a 15 horse, pull the governor out of it, stick that in the ass end of this thing, and we're going to have some fun with this thing for sure. Williams got the body off the frame. I don't think this thing has been taken off since about 1973. But frame's in pretty good shape. Well, looks like they just welded a bunch of, what would that be, like 1 1/4 by 1 1/4?
For the training, do you need a training? I'm guessing you didn't have enough width to do that initially.
Oh, you're talking this little goober here?
This way. If you spin it, yeah, if you spin it, you'll see it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, that's the transmission that's on this thing. And don't think this initially came on it, but somebody adapted it. We're going to keep it. And also, this is not a side drive. This is a bottom drive. So like your regular lawnmower, you can see how that runs to the transmission. And then the transmission runs down to your sprocket down here. So we're going to do some changing on this. But again, William ended up getting everything torn apart. Got all that done. We'll probably end up doing some new carpet, all this stuff in here. But yeah, she's down. She's good. Woohoo! You won. Yeah. Even though you got tons of dirt on your face, but it's all good. It's all good. You did a good job, man. Well, luckily the couplers themselves are pretty snug and pretty tight. I trimmed about a 4-inch chunk off of those straight edges, so that holds that in pretty well. I found one hose clamp, which I'm happy with, because then that at least tightens this up and puts me where I want. So you get the idea of where I'm going. I have 2 more 90s left, so I'm going to have to come up here with one, and then the other guy I'm going to have to take it and turn it in, and then figure out whatever straight piece I'm going to need right there. So all my 90s are going to literally be used in this section. I found out on the procharger, I'm going to need a 3.5-inch to a 4-inch coupler on that guy over there. I thought it was 4-inch. It's not. That's why I ended up buying this guy, which is a 4-inch to a 4-inch, and it just flops on there. And that's when I realized, hey, that should be a 3.5. You guys didn't want to see me sitting there cutting and chopping these things up like crazy and just doing it over and over and over. So here is the carburetor side, pretty much all done, ready to rock and roll. So we're all good. Into the intercooler, coming out. Now every single one of these, I literally have butted up next to each other. So it's either going to be running these couplers, or say we carve a hole out of this, put a tack in it, and then I would probably have somebody who knows how to weld aluminum better than me fully weld all this stuff up and do it the right way. It's either going to be that, or I'm just going to run these couplers all the way up. That's going to go black. All the piping's going to go black. It's just all going to go black. So that's where we're at, and you can see how I got room to the alternator. So we're all good there. I got about a finger width, so no problems with the alternator. I got plenty of room to the water pump. I got plenty of room to the fan, so this side's good. But today is finishing up on that. So I have to go through, and you can see I've already trimmed out a good section of the fender. It's just looping it around and trying to bring it into the intercooler. Pretty simple, right? Well, give me a couple hours. What I'm fighting here is I got some trimming I got to do inside the fender, because I tried doing, well, here. I tried doing this 90 originally, and I thought, well, I'll just do a flat piece here, or a regular, 3-inch coupler. I'll stick this on there. Well, trim it down, Scott, that way it doesn't stick out. This curve is so big that even if I trimmed it down to where I could only put on maybe 1 inch worth of coupler, and I'd like to have it in a little farther than that, this curve is still way too big. Even though if I'm right here, and that's like butting it right up to it, you can see I'm like right against the edge of the fender. No matter what, I'm right to the edge of the fender. So at that point, I went, wait a minute, I'm just going to run this coupler. I'm just going to run the coupler. So at that point, I'm fighting the inlet. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, the inlet to the air-to-water intercooler there. I'm fighting that guy, and I thought, all right, I'll do a 90 coming out of there. My angles are wrong. This does not come out at a perfect 90-degree angle. I don't know why. Maybe, where the blower is and the pitch of this, and it just doesn't come out straight. I'll show you that. This is as far as I got. I pretty much have got it figured out on the driver's side. I just don't have the piece. I need a 30-degree tube, and they do offer them. I'm just going to have to order one up. This is the reason why. As you can tell here, that's a straight, going into that 90 coming out, and you can see the curve. I just tried to get the pieces to just fit in, and then I cut out a piece of cardboard, did that, and I'm real close to 30 degrees. A 45, you might be like, well, what's 45? Well, this also, if you do a straight line coming up from center, that's where a 30 would be. This 45, as you're going to be able to tell, just to lay it into that curve, that's a 45. Now, if you look at where I did that 30 coming off of here, this is centered, and then, you know, 90 is going to be straight up. That's pretty close. So at that point, I'm pretty sure a 30 is going to work. So I didn't quite get it all 100% the way I wanted it, but I got to get the motor out of the car because Steve is ready to put in the cam bearings and freeze plugs in the block, and I want to start building the motor. Just getting the motor plate off right now, wrapping up on that. I'm going to leave this thing up on the engine stand, so that way next video you guys see, I'll be dropping this off. Well, I'll be bringing it over to Steve's so he can do the cam bearings and freeze plugs. We're going to drop off Schuler's motor, or his block, and all of that machine work's going to get done. Steve's going to order up crankshaft and rods. Schuler bought pistons already. So we're going to drop that off, get all the machine work done, block work done, balancing, etc. So we got a couple of motors to build here in the ongoing future. So, all right, well, I'm going to get this motor plate off. You guys, I'm glad you stuck around if you made it to the end, and pretty excited to get this thing up and going and just get it together. I want to get this thing on the dyno, see what she makes. So I'll see you guys on the next episode. Don't forget, hit that share, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We got to grow this channel, and you guys have been helping out a lot lately, and I do appreciate that very much. So thank you very much. So till we meet again, my friends, see you on the next one.